Hi everyone, Brett back. High altitude scale modeling, part 10 of the B-17 Airfix 72nd scale build. Today I'm going to work on some seam lines on the fuselage. Now, I've seen other builds of this aircraft and they all have the same seam line gap. Some are bigger than others, some are smaller. Now you can use putty. There's plenty of putties out there. There's perfect plastic putty. My go-to one right now is Vallejo plastic putty. There's sprue goo, evergreen styrene, and Tamiya extra thin. We're gonna use a combination of a couple of things. First, we're gonna use evergreen plastic strip. Actually, first thing I want to do is make sure that this gap hasn't caused a problem with the front windshield. So we're going to sit that in there. And it looks like it still fits like it should fit. Maybe tiny little gap around there. But nothing that I think is going to cause an issue. So I want to make sure the gap didn't cause a problem. Looks like it's okay. So I'm going to use some styrene sheets. What I would do is slide a piece in there. And that's bigger than I want it to be, so I'm going to cut it down here. And I'm going to cut some of it off this way. And I'm going to sit it in here. It's going to fall straight through. That came out. So maybe we need to keep it bigger so it doesn't fall through. And it fell through too. Okay. So we want it in there. So I'm going to glue it in here. I'll know while it sits up. And I'm going to let it sit that way and dry, melt together. Yeah, filled that gap up nicely. There's another little gap right here, and I got some thinner. This is 0.15, this is 0.10. Same thing, it's going to sit right there. Take some extra thin and glue it in place. Cut it down the size so maybe it won't fall out. Glue it in place. So both of those are going to dry in there. Now this is a little thin, but I didn't have a piece quite thick enough, and that's my thinnest, so what we're going to do is take some of this sprue goo, which is evergreen styrene melted with Tamiya extra thin, and I'm going to put this along the line where, and I'm dripping everywhere. Put that along the line where there's still a little bit of a gap. Right there. Now it's all going to dry and melt together. This one's okay the way it is. I don't need to put any in there. But we're going to let that dry. Now while we're letting that dry, we can check some of this other stuff. There's a little bit of a ridge there. That's okay. Now I want to see when I spray this, primer this up, if these gaps here get filled up. I think they'll be okay. No real gap we had an issue with. Put the lid on this so I don't spill it. You can make thicker or thinner. As you saw, mine's pretty thick. Wipe a little of it off. There we go. Mine was a little thick. But these seam lines we're going to have to check after we primer it. But some of it, where I glued it, there's a little ridge right there. I'll clean that up with my Alex scraper. That's perfectly smooth there. This looks all good. Underneath here, like I said, there's a little bit of a ridge right there. And you find when you're leveling it out, it's also going to make the gap not look so bad. And you see it all, by static electricity, it's all sticking to the scraper. Okay, it's nice and smooth now. That's all smooth and even. So we're going to let that sit. Today may be wing attachment time after we get through all this other stuff. Here's the directions. We left off putting the wings together. So next step is attaching the wings and the elevators. So let's let that dry a little more. Put our elevators together. Simple process. Just gotta find them in this box full of plastic. Too many things going on. Okay, engines, props, mask, guns and turrets, control surfaces, color callouts, PE, engine PE, flaps, decals, more decals. Found them. Okay. These are already put together. This part's already done. So we need to just put the control surfaces on there, which are right here. How's everybody been? I want to thank everyone for continuing to support my build. Hopefully you're entertained, if not learning something. Don't know if I could teach a lot of people much, because there's a lot of outstanding modelers that I associate with. But if you're having an enjoyable time watching, that's as important as learning. And clean up these attachment points I just cut off. I like how the plastic looks and feels on this. Airfix did a good job with this plastic. You can see on this fabric detail, raised rivets, a nice fabric detail. These just go right on there. And I'm not going to glue them. I think they'll work okay without being glued. Because you've got this pin right here and this slat there. So this should just click right in here. And looky there. We're getting a good bite on those. We're going to let them sit a little longer. Put a little more regular glue on this side. Get a little more melty. Alright. Now I need a little slower drying time on the glue, so I'm using the white glue. And I don't want to overdo it. I don't want it seeping out and making a mess. So we're going to slide that in there, make sure the hole's aligned. Hold it and let it bite. And same on this side. Too much of the white glue, so we're going to move it around. Okay. Slide this one in. Make sure everything lines up. Hold it to bite. Looks like a good clean point there. Won't need any filler. And we want to make sure we're straight. Looks straight. Make sure they have a good bite in them. Okay, those went in really well. Alright, now the wings have these really good wing spars. Just slide in just like that. One wing in. Tested them both. Two wings in. Assuming this one wants to cooperate. There we go. This one's going to need a little cleanup, I think. Try that again. Take this one off. We know it fits good. There we go. It's Gonna hold it in place. It's got working ailerons. I'm thinking that's going to fit okay. So we're going to do one wing at a time, using the same glue. On the front and the back, and the wing spars. It didn't drip on the plane, it didn't. It dripped right there. Okay, I'll get those in there. We'll let them bite a little bit, then we'll run some extra thinner on the seam line. Let the capillary action carry it around. Same thing on the top. Touch it in there. And you want to take your time with this. Don't rush the wings. There is no hurry. The top seam's going to be good, beautiful. The bottom seam might need a little work if you're concerned about it. I'll probably do some, I don't know, I might do the styrene, slip it in there. But the top seam's going to look really good. So let that bite. Check and make sure we haven't lost our anything on the, oops, kept those straight. Maybe just a touch more back here. I don't think I got glue there because it doesn't seem like it's gripping. Here we go. We got a good grip going. I finished my MiG-21. For those of you who comment on my Facebook post, thank you very much. It was a fun build. It did take a long time, but in the end, it got done, and it got done nicely. Okay, one wing in. This wing we saw was already going to fit great, so we're just going to do the same thing with the glue. On here, and here. On the wing spars. Pick some of that up. Click it in. Got a nice click. Extra thin. This one actually fits better on the bottom than the other one is. You can, if you watch it, you can see the capillary action running right down the join. Hold it. Check your angle. Nice angle to both. let them get a good bite. The wing spars should keep it in place. The bottom of this one, yeah, it's going to need a little filling. This one's not too bad. This one, just a little. Yeah, needs a thicker one than that. That one's too thick. We'll worry about that after it's all dried. So I'm looking at it head on. And everything looks lined up from this angle. I don't know how well the camera is gonna. But the tail's lined up on that line. There we go. Look at there. We got wings and everything. Let me clear up some of this stuff so we don't get any spillage. So, after those dried for a while, I take my good cutters here, trim away the excess. Same on here. Trim away all the excess because you got a window that goes in there. Same here. Take my knife, trim that away some more so we get the perfect circle in there. Okay, same here. Okay. Okay, now all you really need to do, take your sander, make sure it's nice and smooth. Then use a higher grit one. So you clean up any scratches. This is good because you got a very fine grit sander and then a polisher on the other side. And your seam line's filled. Your front glass sits on there. It's going to be able to be glued on there just fine without any gaps. You have it centered on there. Let it dry some more. I clean up this little edge here. little glue right here because that just needs to be glued back together. I popped it out when I was cleaning up. There you go. Once we get primer on there, you should be able to see how well the seam looks and works. I think it'll be okay. Nice and smooth and polished. Looking good. Let's go across there. The other side where we did some scraping. I already broke off those guns, so they're going to be replaced anyway. Then you need to go through and you're going to have to rescribe these seam lines. That'll be in the next exciting episode because we're going to fill that too. And I'm going to fill that with putty on this one. And which one's open? This one's open. It's probably clogged though. I haven't used it for a while. Oh, not too bad. I like this Vallejo because it doesn't shrink as much as the other ones do. It's got this great applicator. And we're just gonna run it along here. Just like that. And then we're going to take our putty tool, if I can find one. Sometimes I just can't keep things straight where I put them. Well, this should work. This is a little rubber color applicator. This will push the putty down in there, plus clean it up as we go. Now you have to let that dry because there will be some sinkage. You may need to add some more. And be careful because you see what I'm doing. I'm getting putty all over myself, but I don't want to get it all over the rest of the aircraft. And you can see all this here. A lot of that dark is because of the way the glue seeped out. So we won't be able to tell how it is until we primer it. We'll have to run some panel lines through here. We're going to let that dry. Damn, I got this stuff everywhere. And this stuff is water cleanup, so beats those old days of the lacquer. That was actually a really nice Pro Art color applicator. It's like a rubber brush. You can get them at any Hobby Lobby. Then I like to squeeze the bottom because it sucks the putty back in. And keep the lid on it. That's how I was able to keep it from drying out. Okay, so we got that seam line filled with putty. We've got those seam lines filled with evergreen styrene. That's going to be glued right there in the front. See how well that pushes together. And the wings, the top seams on the wings will probably be okay. Elevators are good. So look at there, we made some good progress today. I'm going to glue that, let everything dry, clean it up. And on our next exciting episode, we're going to do some engine work. I've got photo etch wiring harnesses. I might have photo etch engines, I'm going to have to look. Because if I do, they're going to need cleaned up. All the superchargers and everything we need to go on the bottom. But we might wait on those because they're not going to be the same color. But looks like next time is a lot of engine work. So we're at a good stopping point. We got some filling done. We got the wings on. We have a B-17. Looking good. Need to put the other seat in, it fell out. We'll have to put the glass on before we primer it. I might stick the cowls on without the engines when I primer it. You know, temporarily tack them into place. I'll have to look into that. So, part 10. Accomplish the next phase. We've got us an almost operational B-17. See, that dries pretty quick, but it is sinking, so we are going to need some more, so I'm going to do that while we're sitting here too. One more thing before we go off the air. Again, this is why I like this. I like this applicator because it pushes it in the crack while it's putting it down in a straight line. I think I'm going to let that dry on there instead of cleaning it up this time, since I've already got some in there, and then sand it off. So we're going to leave you here today, folks. Thanks for tuning in to part 10. This is turning out to be alright. I like this. I'll do this more often. Look, e-sprue. All done. No more e-sprue. I can get rid of it. Thanks for watching. Hope this has been informative. Have a great weekend.